Welcome to Tomorrow Unveiled, where we take the fire hose of future tech research and distill it into the knowledge you need. I want you to step back for a moment and just think about the wearable tech you might be using today. Maybe a fitness tracker, smartwatch. It mostly just watches you, right? Counts steps, charts sleep, tells you what you did. But what happens when that device stops being just a historian of your body and starts becoming an active, almost predictive extension of your mind?
That leap, that fundamental shift, that's really the core theme right now. And our team has compiled a huge amount of confirmed, cross-corroborated advancements just from this past week, October 11th to the 18th, 2025. So for Tomorrow Unveiled today, we're calling this Deep Dive Strapped In. It's all about that move from passive data gathering to, well, true human-computer integration,
Right.
HCI.
Right. So our mission for Tomorrow Unveiled today is to really dig into the three big streams pushing this forward. First, that intense platform war happening in spatial computing. Then the kind of silent revolution in neural input. And finally, the pretty radical evolution of form factors, where the tech itself starts to almost disappear.
Exactly. Our dedicated research team has flagged this acceleration. We're moving decisively from what we've been calling the data self, that passive tracking model you mentioned, towards the augmented self. And that's all about enhancing your capabilities, giving you seamless, intentional control over digital systems. And it's really fueled by this convergence of spatial computing, advanced AI, and some genuine breakthroughs in material science that let tech actually conform to us, to the human body.
Okay, let's unpack that shift. Starting where maybe the most visible action is, the face. We are smack in the middle of a spatial computing platform war. And the core idea here seems to be this integration imperative.
Right. If a device is truly going to augment your reality, it has to actively interpret and respond instantly to what you intend to do. It's fundamentally different from, say, pulling out your smartphone. If you look up and the virtual thing lags, even just for milliseconds, the whole illusion shatters. It becomes clunky, frustrating.
It seeks the immersion.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that demands immense processing power right there on the device and incredibly low latency, which is why the hardware news this week is so telling. It really shows where the industry is putting its focus.
And the big player, Apple, they clearly understood that their first Vision Pro, while groundbreaking in many ways, had some serious practical limits.
Oh, definitely.
So this confirmed upgrade, the Vision Pro 2025. It's not a total rewrite, but it feels like a necessary refinement, targeting those big user complaints, right?
Exactly. Performance and, crucially, usability. Comfort. The research confirms they've integrated the new M5 chip. Now, this isn't just a minor speed bump, this architecture. It's got a specialized 10-core CPU, 10-core GPU, upgraded neural engine. It's basically purpose-built for the kind of intense parallel tasks AR demands.
Okay, but why does that specific chip mix matter so much? Break that down a bit.
Well, because immersive AR isn't just painting a picture. It's constant heavy lifting. The neural engine is handling predictive stuff, tracking your eyes, guessing where you'll click next.
Ah, the intent part.
Precisely. Meanwhile, the CPU and GPU are getting hammered with rendering the actual virtual objects, mapping the real world around you in real time, processing the video feed coming through all at once. So that claimed 40% faster AR rendering. It means the system juggles all that with much less lag. It gets closer to what our research team calls that zero friction interaction, that feeling of seamlessness.
But like you said, speed doesn't matter if you rip the thing off your head after an hour because it hurts. The weight and comfort were maybe the biggest complaints about V1.
Absolutely. The original was what, 650 grams?
Wow.
And kind of front heavy. So the big usability fix here is this new dual knit band. It's an ergonomic change, sounds simple, but it helps spread that weight much more evenly over the top of your head instead of just pressing on your face.
Okay.
And this seemingly small tweak apparently lets people use it for up to 4 hours continuously, tethered, of course. That's a huge increase from the old 2.5 hours.
That really is the difference between a tech demo and something you could actually use for a full work meeting or a design session. Changes the whole equation. Plus, the software update, visionOS 2.6, apparently makes the eye tracking and gestures even smoother, making that look to select thing really work reliably.
Yeah, refining the core interaction. But while Apple keeps tightening its grip on its vertical stack, hardware, software, everything, the rest of the market is doing something different. They're forming this counter-alliance, which really kicks off the spatial computing platform war in earnest.
Which brings us to Samsung and the Android XR crew.
Exactly, the challenger ecosystem.
The gloves are officially off this week, with Samsung confirming their Worlds Wide Open event for October 21st.
But
That's the formal debut of the Samsung Galaxy XR headset, codenamed Project Muhan, right?
that's the one. And the strategy is fascinating because it absolutely mirrors the old iOS versus Android playbook.
How so?
It's this horizontal alliance. Samsung brings the manufacturing muscle, the hardware expertise. Google provides Android XR, the operating system aiming for openness, trying to get developers on board quickly. And Qualcomm delivers the engine, the Snapdragon XR2 plus Gen 2 chip.
So the idea is build an app once, run it on potentially lots of different headsets down the line, not just locked into one ecosystem.
That's the pitch. More choice, potentially faster innovation across the board. And the leaked specs suggest they aren't messing around on the hardware front either. Project Muhan is confirmed to have dual 4K micro OLED displays.
Dual 4K, so combined. What does that mean pixel-wise?
Our research team crunched the numbers. It comes out to roughly 29 million total pixels.
Okay, and visionpro is?
Around 23 million. So Samsung is making a clear play here on pixel density. They're signaling they want to compete, maybe even beat Apple, on pure visual sharpness, aiming for users doing detailed work or maybe high-fidelity gaming.
Interesting. And sensors.
Comprehensive suite. 6 external cameras for tracking, 2 color cameras for pass-through view, and 4 internal cameras just for eye tracking. Pretty robust.
And they're shipping with controllers, right? With haptics, Apple's still all in on hands and eyes only.
Yeah, that's a key difference. Samsung seems to recognize that for certain things, detailed industrial work, serious gaming people still want or need that tactile precision of a physical controller. It positions them well for enterprise use cases, maybe.
Makes sense. And the price? Still high, but...
Still premium, definitely. Expected around $1,800 plus. But compared to Apple's $3,500 starting point, it opens the door to a much wider group of early adopters, businesses maybe that couldn't justify the Vision Pro cost.
So while Apple and Samsung Google fight it out at the high end, Meta is playing a different game entirely, more lifestyle, accessibility focused.
Precisely. It's a differentiated strategy. They seem to be betting on getting something on your face more often, even if it's less powerful. Frequency over fidelity, maybe?
Like the Ray-Ban display glasses.
Exactly. Designed for all-day wear, quick info overlays, much longer battery, like 6 hours, mixed use, much more normal-looking form factor, and a price, $799, that's way more approachable for regular consumers. It's kind of the gateway drug for spatial computing.
And they're smart about targeting niches, too. The Oakley Meta Vanguard fitness glasses.
Yeah, that's a great example. $499, 9 hours of battery, specifically built for athletes. Integrates with Strava, Garmin. Imagine cycling and seeing your pace, heart rate, maybe navigation prompts projected right there without looking down.
Okay, that's compelling for specific uses.
But focusing on these lighter, always-on glasses immediately raises the question, how do you control them? Especially when you're running or your hands are busy, or just in your pockets.
Yeah, good point. Voice isn't always ideal.
Which leads us perfectly into part 2, the revolution in input, moving beyond tapping screens or awkward voice commands.
Right, this idea of intentional input, using our own body signals for hands-free control.
And the foundational tech here, making waves right now, is the EMG wristband. Think Meta Neuralband, or similar tech from companies like Wearable Devices Ltd. EMG is electromyography. Basically, sensors reading the tiny electrical buzz from your motor neurons in your wrist.
And the really wild part is it detects the signal before you actually move, or even as you just intend to move a finger slightly.
That's the breakthrough. You don't need a big visible gesture. Just the intention, the neural firing before the twitch, is enough to register as a command.
So that unlocks truly hands-free control. Scrolling, selecting, answering a call, just by thinking about wiggling a finger, even if your hands are full or in your pockets.
Exactly. And our research team highlighted the huge potential for accessibility. Think about someone with limited mobility, spinal injuries, tremors, maybe even someone missing fingers. This could give them robust digital control they didn't have before.
And this isn't just lab stuff anymore. We have confirmation this week it's hitting critical reliability levels. Wearable Devices Ltd. is working with the military.
Yes, that's a major validation point. They're developing neural control for advanced tactical systems, integrating with defense platforms like Anduril Eagle Eye.
Military adoption, that means it has to work. Under pressure, reliably.
Absolutely. The demands are extreme. They're looking at soldiers using these bands for silent control of drones, comms gear, accessing sensor data, all via subtle, intentional hand-finger gestures. If it's good enough for that, it signals the tech is maturing fast.
Okay, so reading muscle intent is one layer, but the really mind-bending stuff this week is in brain-computer interfaces, BCIs, that landmark UCLA research using non-invasive EEG caps.
Right, and what's so clever is how they tackled the big problem with non-invasive BCI. The signal is noisy. EEG reads brainwaves from outside the skull, so the signal gets muffled, distorted, mixed with muscle noise from your scalp and neck.
Which historically made non-invasive BCIs way less precise than the ones requiring surgery, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But instead of just trying to filter out all that noise, the UCLA team used a concept called shared autonomy.
Okay, walk us through that. Shared autonomy. What does it mean in practice?
It means the BCI focuses on reading the user's high-level goal. Like the person just thinks, I want to grab that cup. The raw brain signal gives the general intent, but it's fuzzy on the details.
Right, not precise enough on its own.
So the AI co-pilot steps in. Using computer vision to see the environment, it figures out the how. It calculates the exact path for a robotic arm, the right grip force, the smooth movement needed to actually pick up the cup.
So the human provides what the AI handles the how. It's like a partnership.
A true collaboration, yeah. It leverages the human's intent and the AI's precision. And the results were striking. They saw a nearly 4x improvement in standard cursor control tasks using this method. Even more significantly, a participant with paralysis who couldn't manage a pick-and-place task with the BCI alone could do it successfully with the AI co-pilot assisting. It really starts to bridge that gap between non-invasive BCI and the more risky invasive implants.
That's incredible. It changes the whole approach from trying to perfectly decode thoughts to just getting the gist and letting AI handle the mechanics.
And this push for realism, for seamless interaction, it doesn't stop at sight and control. It extends right into our sense of touch. Haptics. If AR is going to feel real, the virtual world needs to feel real too.
And haptics are getting seriously sophisticated. First up, thermal haptics, the Nokia-Wart collaboration.
Yeah, the Touch Diver Pro glove. This lets users actually feel temperature in VR or AR. They demonstrate a range from a chilly 15 Celsius up to a warm 42 Celsius.
So you could feel the difference between virtual ice and virtual hot metal.
Exactly. Imagine training simulations where you can feel if an engine part is dangerously hot, or just the added immersion in games or virtual environments. It adds a whole new sensory layer.
But you don't necessarily need a bulky glove anymore, right? That University of Bath research, Hydrohaptics.
Right. This is fascinating. Hydrohaptics uses soft, liquid-filled pockets combined with tiny motors embedded directly into flexible surfaces. Think cushions, mouse pads, even backpack straps.
Backpack straps, how does that work?
It's bidirectional haptics. The material stays soft, but it can deliver complex feedback. Our research team noted a great demo. A backpack strap giving navigation cues. Need to turn right. The right strap gives you a gentle squeeze on the shoulder. Silent, intuitive.
Okay, I could actually use that. I definitely get lost sometimes just relying on a watch buzz.
Me too.
Yeah.
And another example was a deformable computer mouse for digital sculpting. As you push into the virtual clay, the mouse physically resists your hand, giving you a sense of substance, of stiffness.
Wow. So touch feedback woven into everyday objects, turning passive materials into active interfaces.
That's the idea, making the digital world feel tangible.
That is really cool. But I do wonder about the complexity, integrating tiny motors and liquid into things like straps. Seems like it could still be bulky or fragile.
That's a fair point, and it highlights exactly why the next frontier is changing the materials themselves. But before we dive into that,
if you're finding Tomorrow Unveiled insightful, and maybe you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we'd be incredibly grateful if you could take a moment to leave us a rating and review. It genuinely helps new listeners discover the show, and we really do love hearing what you think. So whether you're on YouTube or your favorite podcast app, drop us a comment. Let us know your thoughts on this new wave of wearable tech. All right, so moving into part 3, we're looking longer term now. This vision of seamless, truly integrated tech requires the hardware to kind of fade away. The invisible computer, driven by new materials and form factors.
Exactly. The end game isn't bigger headsets, it's getting away from rigid plastic boxes altogether, moving towards tech woven into everyday things. And a major step in that direction comes from the University of Bristol with something called EMG, Electromorphing Gels.
Electromorphing gels. Sounds like science fiction. What are they?
They're these remarkable soft polymer composites. The key thing is they can change shape, bend, make complex movements just by applying external electric fields. No wires, no bulky motors inside the gel itself.
So the material itself moves on command.
Pretty much. It opens the door for truly dynamic, adaptive wearables. Imagine clothing that adjusts its fit automatically, or soft robotic grippers that change shape, or even a sensor patch that can subtly reposition itself on your skin for a better reading, all without traditional mechanics.
Okay, that's wild. But maybe the ultimate invisible interface is the work being done with MXene's smart contact lenses.
Ah, yes, MXenes. These are a type of 2D nanomaterial, incredibly thin, and researchers have developed contact lenses using them that go way beyond just correcting vision.
How so? What can they do?
They're essentially transparent sensors and interfaces sitting right on your eye. The capabilities are kind of staggering. Continuous biosensing is a big one. For example, they can monitor glucose levels in your tears in real time, huge for diabetes management, or track intraocular pressure, constantly critical for catching glaucoma early.
So it shifts healthcare from periodic checks to continuous proactive monitoring, all from a contact lens.
That's the potential, yeah.
Yeah.
And it goes beyond sensing. They're also exploring in situ therapeutics, meaning the lens itself could deliver medication directly to the eye when needed, or provide protection. Our research mentioned built-in antimicrobial properties, even shielding against certain types of electromagnetic radiation. It's this convergence of advanced materials, diagnostics, drug delivery, protection, all packed into something almost invisible.
The sheer pace of these breakthroughs, flexible gels, smart lenses, it really feels like we're moving beyond just concepts. But let's ground this again. Why does this deep integration matter to someone listening right now? Let's hit some real-world applications.
Okay. In healthcare, the impact could be profound. That AI BCI system from UCLA, that shared autonomy approach, offers a plausible, lower-risk way to give people with severe paralysis more independence, more control over assistive robots without needing brain surgery.
Huge quality of life potential there.
Definitely. And the MXene lenses could revolutionize eye care, moving from reactive treatment after damage is done to proactive management based on continuous data, catching things early, maybe even preventing vision loss.
Okay, healthcare is clear. What about industry? Enterprise?
That's where we're seeing the fastest adoption already. Those high-end XR headsets, visionpro, the upcoming Galaxy XR, they're enabling things like immersive remote collaboration. Engineers continents apart working on the same 3D design as if they're in the same room.
And for workers on the factory floor or out in the field?
AR glasses are moving past just showing notifications. They're overlaying instructions, diagrams, checklists directly onto the equipment someone's working on. Our research team pulled data confirming this approach can reduce errors by up to 18% in manufacturing settings.
18%. That's not trivial. That's huge for safety, efficiency, cost.
Absolutely. Imagine a mechanic working on a complex engine. No need to look away at a manual or tablet. The right instruction, the right torque spec, appears right next to the bolt they're tightening. It reduces cognitive load, speeds things up, cuts mistakes.
Makes perfect sense. And defense. You mentioned Endural Eagle Eye earlier.
Right. Systems like that use AR and AI to pull together sensor feeds, identify threats, share awareness across a team, overlaying it all visually. Again, it's about reducing cognitive load and speeding up good decision-making in incredibly high-stress situations.
Okay, powerful applications across the board. And a quick reminder, if you are watching Tomorrow Unveiled on YouTube and finding this valuable, please do hit that like button, subscribe, and maybe even try out the new hype button. It really helps the channel grow. And turn on notifications so you don't miss future updates. So we've painted a picture of incredible capability with the strapped-in future, but now, part 4. We have to talk about the friction, the challenges, the high cost of this kind of intimacy.
This is absolutely the crux of the issue moving forward, the privacy paradox. The very power of these devices stems from the incredibly intimate data they collect.
And top of the list has to be neural data risk. Let's be blunt. Raw brain signals from BCI, EMG data from your wrist. This is probably the most sensitive data imaginable. It's not just where you went or what you bought. It's potentially revealing cognitive states, attention levels, subconscious reactions, maybe even emotions before you're consciously aware of them.
Then the massive problem is our laws and regulations weren't built for this. We have rules for location data, financial data, but there's no clear unified framework for protecting neural data. This lack of specific protection creates enormous ethical questions and, frankly, huge risks for the companies developing this tech. What happens if it's hacked? What if it's misused? The potential for revealing your innermost self, even things you don't know about yourself, is unnerving.
And the privacy issue isn't just about the wearer. There's the whole bystander surveillance problem, too. Those always on cameras and AR glasses, Metas, Apple's military systems, they're recording everyone else, too.
Often without consent or even awareness. You're just walking down the street and someone wearing glasses might be recording you. It's a huge hurdle for social acceptance. Until we figure out clear rules, the standardized indicators, clear legal lines, widespread adoption is going to face pushback.
Beyond the big ethical questions, there are still some stubborn technical and usability problems holding things back too, right?
Oh yeah, the perennial problem, battery life.
Oh.
It's still the single biggest bottleneck for true all-day ubiquitous computing. Even with improvements like the Vision Pro's new band, getting it to maybe 4 hours. That's still not all day. Until these things can run reliably for 10, 12, 16 hours, usage will be session-based. You can't have a seamless augmented self if you're constantly worrying about plugging in.
And comfort, form factor. Meta's glasses are light, sure, but the powerful XR headsets like Vision Pro at 600 plus grams, that's still heavy for long periods.
Right. Our research team keeps highlighting that getting below 500 grams, maybe even closer to 400, with good weight distribution. That's the magic target for sustained comfort, for eliminating that neck strain after an hour or two.
And these two things, battery and weight, they tie directly into the need for powerful on-device AI, don't they?
Absolutely. The on-device AI imperative.
Explain that. Why can't we just process everything in the cloud like phones often do?
Latency and data volume. Think about it. You're constantly streaming high-res video from the cameras, audio, depth sensor data, maybe even raw neural signals, sending all that up to the cloud, processing it and sending it back down. The lag would make AR totally unusable. The virtual world wouldn't keep up with your head movements. Plus, sending raw brain data wirelessly, massive privacy nightmare.
Okay, got it. So the heavy lifting has to happen right there on the device.
Exactly. The AI co-pilot, the environment mapping, the hand tracking, the eye tracking, it all needs powerful specialized chips. Those MPUs, neural processing units, running sophisticated AI models, all within the very tight power and heat limits of a small wearable device.
That sounds like an incredibly difficult engineering challenge. Max power, minimum battery drain, no overheating.
It's the holy grail right now for wearable hardware design. And finally, we can't ignore the adoption and regulatory barriers. Cost is still huge. $3,500 for Vision Pro, maybe $1,800 for Samsung's. That keeps this tech mainly in the hands of enterprise users or wealthy enthusiasts for now.
And the regulatory side, especially for the health applications.
That's a big friction point. Those amazing MXene lens sensors or advanced BCI applications. If they're making medical claims, they need rigorous, lengthy FDA approvals, clinical trials. Meanwhile, a consumer gadget using similar tech but not making medical claims can get to market much faster. So sometimes the most potentially beneficial uses lag behind the consumer tech.
A real tension there between innovation speed and ensuring safety and efficacy for medical uses.
Definitely. Defines a lot of the current landscape in the strapped-in era.
Okay, so let's try and synthesize what we've covered today on Tomorrow Unveiled. The big picture is wearables are evolving far beyond just tracking. We're seeing this deep integration with human intent, human capability.
Absolutely. The key trajectories confirmed just this past week are pretty clear, I think.
Yeah.
1, the spatial computing platform war is on. Apple versus the Samsung, Google, Android XR alliance. That's defining the virtual spaces we'll use. 2, neural input is becoming real. EMG bands, AI-assisted BCI, making interaction truly hands-free, intuitive, and potentially way more accessible. And 3, the hardware itself is starting to disappear, getting softer, more conformable, maybe even invisible, with things like smart contacts and morphing materials.
So looking ahead, say the next 12, 18 months, what should we expect?
I think we'll see an intense race to get developers building useful apps for these competing XR platforms. That's critical. Content is king. And alongside that, we'll see more commercial rollouts of gesture and EMG control in both consumer gadgets and specialized professional tools. It's moving out of the lab.
But stepping back, the ultimate challenge isn't just the tech itself, is it?
No, I don't think so. The ultimate winners in this strapped-in future, they probably won't be the ones with just the fastest chip or the sharpest screen. It'll likely be the organizations that figure out how to build trust, how to establish a new kind of social contract for this incredibly intimate data. If these devices can genuinely start to infer our intentions, our focus, maybe even our emotions, what's the responsibility of the maker? How do they protect our autonomy, our dignity? That's a really deep, critical question that's going to shape how human-computer integration evolves from here.
A profound thought indeed, as technology doesn't just surround us, but increasingly becomes part of us. Thank you for joining us on Tomorrow Unveiled.